Hello everybody, it is Mike Levin on August 1st, 2022, and in the spirit of trying to create shorter, more useful YouTube videos, I'm going to create this one to see how fast I can create a new Linux container under Windows. So we can do LXD Linux fast to show the containers I have. Munchkin is actually running. I'm going to stop it from running just for the sake of concentrating on the new one. So LXC stop Munchkin. And we could do that LXC ls fast again so you can see it stopped. Control L to clear. LXC. And I refer to my notes now. I'll take a little divergence here to show you that this is what I'm looking at from one of the last times I did it to create that first image. Looking glass. I'm going to switch my naming convention to Donald Duck's nephews, Huey, Louie, and Dewey, because I have to install the pipeline software, Huey. So I'm going to start out with this, LXC launch images : Ubuntu/18.04. And that's in my copy buffer now. And on the way to doing this, I actually stopped to look at the linuxcontainers.org site to see what the heck that's about. And it's really weird. LXD uses image-based workflow. It comes with a built-in image store where the user or external tools can import images. Containers are then started from those images. Okay, so there's three possible sources, this common one, which we're doing, and there's this concept of LXD or simple streams. So I went Googling what simple streams was and gobbledygook. So anyway, I'm going to go with trusting it for a while. So LXC to create the container, it's in my copy buffer, and then I just give it a name. Huey. Creating Huey. Starting Huey. Now let's list those containers again. There's Huey, and it's running. LXCEXEC Huey -- space switch users -- login Ubuntu. My first time logging into this, right? There I am. Ubuntu at Huey. And I need to install the Python Huey pipeline management software, workflow stuff. So sudo apt update, as we always do, to make sure the software repository database locally is up to date. It's probably one of the largest things in one of these really trimmed down Ubuntu installs. And as usual, all packages are up to date. So I haven't even Googled ahead to figure out Huey, but it's going to be in PyPy for sure. And it's going to install Python. So as an added benefit, I'll show you when one of these are installed, it has nothing in it. This is the added benefit, right? So the whole video is over there. I just created Huey. It's running. I'm logged into it. Yeah. End of story, right? But it doesn't have Git. It doesn't have Python. And it certainly doesn't have Python 3.10, the latest, right? None of that's there. So let's take care of some of that with, the fastest way we can. Sudo apt install git, because you aren't doing anything without git. You answer yes to that. And this is just the magic, sprinkling in the magic fairy dust to make these LXC launched images useful, to have a little something on them. So we start with Git, and as that's going on, I'm just going to go to my notes here and look for dead snakes, right? Because these next steps are just really crazy. There's going to be one more sudo apt install in order to get this crazy common stuff that's actually required to do the build coming up. And the Git install is still just 7% of the way done. So it takes longer to install Git than almost anything else. It's got so many requirements. Which probably answers the question, why don't you just ship these images with Git pre-installed? Well, if you don't really need Git on your image, on your Linux container, it shouldn't be there because of all this other stuff it has to carry along with it. It seems like such a lightweight common, essential thing, but not so much so. Git is pretty heavyweight these days. Still common and essential, just heavyweight. Now we install the thing that lets us, I believe, compile software from source during an install. That's what I think of when I see that common. I think it used to have a different name, like common tools or common utils or something like that. You can look at what's installing while it's scrolling back, and you're going to see the G and U different places, which is really how we know that it has to do with the software building and compile process. And then we add a new repository, this Dead Snakes PPA, which is what allows you to get both old and super new versions of Python. They're not in the standard Ubuntu/Debian repository, right? You can't pip install Python 3.10 and actually expect to get it until you do that. But now you can. And I could probably do both of these on one line, but for the sake of clarity, we do Python 3.10 pip install sudo pip install Python 3.10. Now it's a pretty useful container. We do want a virtualenv because we're going to be using pip very soon, and even just using pip is reason enough to have virtualenvs. I've been on the fence about virtualenvs on a container because you're already on a container. Your dependencies and requirements are already contained within that container. Why have this extra level of Python venv, or virtualenv if you prefer, isolation? Well, it's because it makes pip easier to use. Okay, so we actually have a Python 3.10 directory. We activate it. Now look at our requester, right? It's just Ubuntu at Huey, nothing about a version of Python that we're working off of, but that changes when we say source activate, and it's coming from out of this location. So we can do it from home/py310 because I put it in my home directory, and I believe it's bin. Every virtualenv folder has a bin folder which has the activate script inside of it. Yeah. cd py310 ls cd bin ls activate. It looks like I got it right. I just typed something a little wrong. Oh yeah, you don't need that extra word activate. It's just source and the path to activate. There we go. And so now you see it's Python 3.10 in our requester, in our prompt. Our prompt actually has our virtualenv in it. And there's much better color coding. Look at that. Now it's this and then this. Although that might have existed out here. I should have CD'd. Oh, it does, because I can tell because the tilde is blue. Okay, and now I can cd back home. You can work out of the home directory even though your Python virtualenv is, a directory level down from there. You can cd anywhere you want. You're still isolated to that Python environment. And now we can pip install. And I got to double check its terminology. That's what I was about to do here. Pip install Huey. And I'm only searching on that with pip install because there is so many different Hueys out there. I want to make sure I've got the right one. I guess it's Huey 2, right? Pip install Huey. I had the right command, so Huey. All right, and I'll take its advice upgrading my Python upgrading my pip command. This will get me onto the latest pip. And there you have it. I'm on a new system called Huey, a new container called Huey. I'm inside of it, and I went through the little dance to make it a good dev workstation for the work I need to do. And I can just assure you of that using that little shortcut that I made before. And there are my now 4 containers with Huey right there running, and without me having to control plus or minus resize this to get all of them to show, because my little alias LX is actually LXC LS minus minus, no, it's actually LXC LS space minus minus fast, right? So that fast parameter is what keeps it from doing this ugly line wrapping, right? Which forced me to always do these control minuses to get it to fit. So I was tired of that, so I just now have this LX alias for me for that. So anyway, that's a real quick video. A little longer than I expected because I threw in the bonus of installing something under this system and sort of updating it to actually being useful, not just creating a blank image where no one would really know what to do next. So now you got Python 3.10. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon. Don't forget to subscribe.